Hello everybody, Hulkrix here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 357. Yes, today we're going to be talking about the Sprint Scout helicopter in the 3058 book. It came to my attention. Somebody brought it up and said, you skipped a few, and it's like, what? And I went back and looked at the book, and I'm like, you're right. I missed a few of them. All right, so I'm going to go back to the 3058 book and finish that one out. Hey, we got to be thorough, right? All right, so the Sprint Scout helicopter. Interesting little guy. It comes in at 10 tons. It's a 1320 moving helicopter, VTOL. It has 10 heat sinks because it comes with a fusion reactor. And then we have, yes, you heard this right, 1 ton of ferrofibrous armor to keep the crew from falling out. And, yeah. So when you're running around at 1320, yes, you can get that 5.6 mod now on a pretty, you can guarantee to 5. I can guarantee that. Unless you took some hits or something in the rotor and slowed you down a little bit. But, it's pretty, I have to say that if you don't do a 5 mod on this thing, you're doing it wrong. All right. It does have a couple pieces of equipment. It has a Beagle probe and a tag system. All right, so this is that pretty much says Scout. We're going to go find stuff for you. My first inclination is like, I personally would rather have the ECM suite instead of the Beagle probe for some reasons, okay? Just for the fact that if you do get hit with something that's like an LRM and it's got Artemis, yeah, that might help you a little bit, keep you alive. Probably not, but, you know, yeah, you got to hedge your bets. And also, we're going to be talking about one of the variants, and when it brings up an interesting point. If you have ECM, you can get in the backfield, get in around and hover, get behind, let's say they got a command vehicle that is doesn't have much for weapon systems to defend itself, and you fly this sucker in there within your range of your ECM, you can shut down that network. Like, think, click, flip the switch, and it's like you no longer have that extra option, which is kind of nice. So there's one reason why I would go with the ECM suite over the Beagle probe. Not to say that a scout helicopter in its name says, hey, we're going to be looking for things and finding for it. That means it was zipping around the battlefield as fast as it can. And then occasionally when it gets in within 15, because yes, that's a range of the tag system, you can drop a tag during the movement phase and say, hey, I tagged you, you're it, and got a lock on you. It's basically one equivalent like a 1 ton or so large laser effect kind of thing. You light them up and everything can be guided in on them. So there's that. There's the nice thing about the tag system. But you got to be within 15. So by chance, if you're facing off against the clans, you're definitely within range of large pulse lasers. And let's just say there's been a few games over the years where I've played, let's say, with a Warhawk that had, well, has the 4 or 2 large pulse laser in the target computer with a 1 or 2 gunner in it. Yeah, it's like it would, that mech right there looking like, hey, look, oh, that's something over there. It looks like a mosquito. SWAT, it's gone. You know, that type of deal. Because when you look at the armor profile of this thing, yeah, it wouldn't take much. You hit it with a large pulse laser, like a clan one. Oh, let's just say your day is done. Because you have basically a point of or 2 of internal structure, and if you have 7 points of frontal armor, a point of or two of, yeah, it's like you hit them with even an inner sphere large pulse laser would punch right through this thing and end its day. So that's where you're looking at lucky shots. And the only thing that keeps this vehicle alive is speed. Trying to squeeze as much out of it as possible. Now, if you go in a straight line and you can make 2 turns, because it's an 18 threshold is where you move up to the 5, between the 4 mod and the 5 mod. And being a VTOL, obviously you get another +1 to that, so that's where you get your 6. So a really good gunner can really put a hurt on something like this with a lucky shot. So just something to think about. All right, let's go back to it. Now, how I envision using this scout helicopter. Now, if you're doing a low impact style game where you're facing off against maybe vehicles and infantry, like a inner sphere game, you could throw a few of these in, because let's just say the battle value in this thing, I think, is was it 72? I think it's 72. Let me check here real quick. It is 82. Sorry, I was like off by 10, but hey, you could throw a couple of these, even a lance of these, into your I'd probably just go 2 into your lineup. You're talking 164 points. That's pretty much nothing in the grand scheme of things. And if you want something, especially if you're running artillery, yeah, throwing a tag out there, that would be helpful. Getting your targeting going for you. Then you're just zipping around the edges. You're staying away, trying to get your lock on. Because if you get it too close, trying to get your tag lock on, yeah, you're probably gonna, or you have a better chance of getting hit. And like I said, in a game that's a low impact, when you're facing off against infantry or your basic vehicles, and you got some vehicles trying to hide or something, equipment, yeah, that's where your Beagle probe will come in handy. And if higher level games where you're facing off against ECM will be handy with C3 networks. That's where I say plug and play type of system, where it's like I'd pull out the Beagle probe for a ECM suite anytime. Now, there are a few different versions of this helicopter. We got the laser version. I probably wouldn't use this because it drops the tag system for a single medium laser, and your battle value goes up to 220. And now you're within 9 to even use it. Yeah, you could probably run in real quick and get in behind somebody and hit them with a medium laser in the back or something of that nature, just using your movement alone, hoping that they don't have any type pulse lasers or good capability of hitting you. So that means you have to get even closer. So I'm not a big fan of that. Now, if you have a more advanced, put an ER medium laser on board, there's a possibility of going that route, but I'm not. It's like the whole purpose of this thing is to allow you to have better support from your units in the rear with the gear. Now, here's an interesting one. Comes in at 71 battle value. It's a troop transport. It has 2.5-ton infantry bay on board. Basically, you're just turning it into equivalent of like a Black Hawk, You're going to come in and drop off some infantry. You could drop off a, I don't think you can put a whole platoon in. Yeah, you throw a couple squads of infantry on board and zip them across the board and just drop them in, and then go out and go. Heck, you could you got a scenario where you're ferrying troops into a position, yeah, that might be handy, just to say the least, to put some straight leg infantry. I'm still thinking that it's 3 tons for a it's like that's what suddenly I was like have drawn up a blank, but I think it's 3 tons for a straight leg infantry platoon. So if I remembered, I'll put the answer up here. And so that's useful. I could see that in a scenario where you're dropping troops in and out. It's like, let's say you got a city fight going on and you want to drop some infantry into a high rise. Just zip them in, hover over top the high rise, and it's like, repel the troops out the sides or land on it or whatever, just hovering there and drop them and then zip on by again. That type of thing. It's like, it sounds like a Black Hawk Down type of scenario where you're dropping off infantry into interesting places. Then we have the C3 variant. Okay, this one drops a tag for C3. This one's okay. You're looking at an 82 battle value again. Now you're loading it up with a network. And this now becomes your eyes and ears. All right. And this is where I think definitely I would swap out the Beagle for the ECM to give myself a little bit of protection. Plus because if you're using C3 network, the odds are they may be using a C3 network, possibly. So that's why I would go that route. Now, if you have other reasons why you want to go with the Beagle probe, hey, put them down below. Let me know. But yeah, it's like you get this thing in here, and this is your eyes and ears, and then your follow-on forces are using you and your speed to get in close and shorten the range. Yes, it's like you can't fire beyond the weapon capability, but you're using the range from the sprint to the target as your actual range. So you got that going for you. Now you still got all your other modifiers, for the firing mech or vehicle or how it may be to the the target's movement. But that's beside the point. That's just normal gaming. But anytime you can shorten your range and decrease some of those mods from a long range to a medium or a short range really quick, and then your LRMs are just spewing forth and shooting at short range for you, yeah, I would go that route anytime. All right, then we got the Word of Blake. All hail the Word of Blake in Comp Star version. This one comes in at 71 battle value, drops all the equipment for improved C3 system. Yeah, I can see why they do that, because it fits right in perfectly for the right tonnage. And the improved C3 system, obviously, you're getting the capability of, if something part of the network goes down, this one can act as your master and slave at the same time. So yeah, it's like, and also has now a typical master has tag capability with the master computer, but you don't have that. So there's that part of it. But that doesn't mean that it won't be handy. As if you ever faced off against any type of Word of Blake mechs of the Celestials, that life can get really spicy for you with those type of mechs coming your way. And if they're using one of these as their short range capability addition, yeah, and they expect in some ways that this helicopter is going to go way of the dodo pretty quickly, but early in the game, as this thing's zipping around, you can suddenly find yourself getting just pummeled from long range from these WAB mechs. And yes, I've done that before, where playing Word of Blake, and suddenly you got all kinds of firepower just going down range, causing all kinds of havoc. So there's that. And then we have the interdictor. Okay, this is the Word of Blake version. It comes in 139 battle value. This one replaces the Beagle probe for the ECM. Yes, exactly what I said. So they're saying they're using this one against Word of Blake's C3 networks that they are using. And so I guess basically there is the interdictor version. I mean, I've already said why I would do that, because anytime you're facing off against Word of Blake, you're going to be facing off against C3 network. And if you can shut them down, that's what I want to have. Because you can get this thing flying into your backfield pretty darn quickly and shutting down Word of Blake mechs. I would kind of steer clear of some of their better, it's like a lot of Celestials are really good pilots to begin with. But I'd probably steer clear of a lot of their better mechs with the pulse lasers and LBX cannons, just trying to finagle, shut down part of the network. And in coming in at 139 battle value, yeah, you're probably going to be running a couple of them in the group just to do that for you. And getting rid of their advantage of the C3 network, which is like standard operating procedure for them, yeah, it makes total sense. So there you go. All right, so that's the Sprint Scout helicopter. I'm going to be going through, I was looking through the book here. There's a few more vehicles and stuff for somehow I missed them when I was going through them. Some of them I've already talked about before in previous editions. So I'm going to go through and see what other ones I'm going to toss into the mix here. So we're going to go back to the 3058 book for a little while. All right, there you go. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Elkricks out.